Bible lesson today, and I have a special new friend, and his name is Max. He's running late today, but he's going to be joining us. He is not a human, he's actually a puppet. Anybody have any puppets at home? Any puppets? So puppets, you know, they can talk to you a little bit. So he's going to come and he's going to help us out with our Bible story, but we have a problem. Max gets really mixed up. And so you might need to help with the story, because he's going to come and he's going to try to tell us the story, but he might get some stuff mixed up. So we call him Mixed Up Max. That's his name. So you're going to get to meet him in just a little bit. All right? So before we meet him, I wanted to tell you what our big idea is for today. You ready for a big idea? Our big idea is that we can ask Jesus for help. Can we say that together, everybody at home too? Ready? 1, 2, 3. We can ask Jesus for help. Let's say it one more time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We can ask Jesus for help. Our story today, our true Bible story, is about the fact that we can ask Jesus for help and the fact that he is always with us. It's one of my very favorite Bible stories. Okay, so before we tell our Bible story, I need to get my Bible out. I forgot one. Let me get my Bible box. Ooh, gotta go over here. And you know who else is with us today? Who we haven't seen in a while? Yes! Haven't you missed it?
There's another one.
Oh, multiple topers. I have missed this little fella. He is so silly. And he is with us today.
Mom, did you get a new one? There's three of them.
Yeah, so this is a fresh Topher. Our old Topher really has gone through a lot. So this is Topher. He's going to be listening to our story, and you know what? Later on, he might help us with the big idea. Okay, so Topher's right here. We got to get our Bible out of our Bible box. So I need your help. Do you remember what we say when we get our Bible out of our Bible box? Do you remember? We say, it's true. It's true. The Bible is true. Can we say it together? It's true. It's true. The Bible is true. One more time. It's true. It's true. The Bible is true. All right, I think we are ready for our story. So I'm going to open up my Bible to the book of Mark, which is in the New Testament. All right, and I'm going to tell you a very special story. And it might help you to look at your picture that you were just coloring. So everybody get out your picture you were just coloring. And everybody at home, just so you know, our friends here are coloring a picture. And in the picture, there's a boat. And there are some people on the boat. And I'm going to be telling you a story about what happened. Okay, so in the Bible, in the book of Mark, Jesus is spending some time with his friends, the disciples. And they were right by a lake. It was a pretty big lake, not just like a small lake, a big lake. And he said to his friends, hey, why don't we go to the other side of the water? And so Jesus and his disciples, they got in their boat and they started sailing across the sea. All right, so point to your picture. Do you see Jesus in the boat with the disciples?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see them. Okay, so they're in the boat and they started sailing across the big blue sea. But then something happened, and your picture shows you kind of what started happening. Does anybody have an idea what's happening in that picture? Raise your hand if you think you know. Avery? Ooh, Avery's noticing they look scared, and then Evan said that he thinks there's a storm, and that's what started happening. This big storm came.
And then Jesus.
Yeah, it was a big old storm. Now, I'm talking like lots of lightning that was crashing, and the wind was going woo. And the waves were really big. Can you imagine really big waves all around you?
And then Jesus calmed it down.
Yeah, it was a really big storm. And the disciples, that boat was really rocking. So pretend like you're kind of rocking in a boat. Can you make your body go back and forth? Everybody at home, make your body go back and forth. So they were in that little boat, and they were getting tossed around by the waves and the wind, and there was all this lightning and thunder. And those disciples, I think somebody said it. How do you think those disciples felt?
I don't know.
How do you think the disciples felt? You might want to raise their hand. Annie, how do you think they felt?
Scared.
They were scared. They were so scared. They didn't know what to do. Well, they looked over, and do you know what Jesus was doing? Jesus was asleep in the back of the boat. Pretend like you're asleep. He was asleep in the back of the boat, so the disciples ran to get Jesus, and they said, Jesus, don't you care that the boat is about to sink? Well, Jesus got up, and he wasn't afraid. But he got up, and he said to the waves, be quiet. He said, quiet, be still. Let's try standing up, because he was very big and powerful. And he spoke to the wind and the waves. And let's say it big and powerful. Everybody, let's say together, quiet, be still. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Quiet, be still. That's good. Okay, we can sit back down. And do you know what happened after that? The wind got real calm. The waves stopped crashing. The lightning stopped. And the water got very still. Why do you think that happened? Raise your hand. Why do you think that happened, Merritt? Thank you. Merritt said because Jesus is very powerful. The wind and the waves, they recognized Jesus' voice. Because he was the one who made them in the first place. And so they got really still. And Jesus turned to the disciples and he said, why are you so afraid? Don't you trust in me? And those disciples, his friends, they were amazed. And you know what they said to each other? No. They said, even the wind and the waves obey Jesus. They were amazed. Can you put your hands to your face like, oh, so surprised. Wow. They'd never seen anything like that before. Okay, so that's our true Bible story for today. And here, my friend Max is finally here. Now, my daughter Eloise helped design Max. This is Max. He's a puppet. Everybody say hi, Max. Hi, Max. Look, he's got a lot of teeth. You see all those teeth he has? That's a whole lot of teeth. Okay, so Max, he wants to try telling us the Bible story. Okay? So he's going to whisper it in my ear, and I'm going to tell you what he says. Now, remember, what did I tell you about Max? He gets what? Mixed up. He gets really mixed up. So, if you think the story is like he's telling the right story, you're going to put a thumbs up on your chest. But if you think he's made a mistake, put a thumbs down. And if I see enough thumbs down, then I'm going to say, okay, what do we need to say? And we'll all say together, you're mixed up, Max. Can we practice that? Everybody say, you're mixed up, Max. You're mixed up, Max. All right. So Max wants to tell y'all the story. All right, so here is what he thinks the story is. Okay, so he's going to tell me. Okay. All right, so Max says that Jesus was spending time with his disciples. And he said to them, Jesus said to the disciples, hey, let's go to the other side of this desert. So they got in their car and they drove over to the other side of the desert. Is that a thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you think? What do y'all think? I got a lot of thumbs down. Okay, who can raise their hand who hasn't shared yet? What actually happened? What does he have wrong? Oh, we forgot to say. Everybody say you're mixed up, Max. Ready? 1, 2, 3. You're mixed up, Max. You're mixed up, Max. All right. So what's the right version? Who wants to share? They didn't get in the car and drive across the desert. What did they do, John? Hold on, we're gonna let John share. Thank you, buddy. Did they get in a car? Mm-hmm. They did. Who wants to help him out? What do you think, Archer?
They get in a car and go across the sea.
They didn't get in a car. What did they get in? Who can help them out?
They get in
what do you think,
a boat.
Joshua, what did they get in?
They got in a boat.
They got in a boat. All right, so a boat. All right, Max. They got in a boat and they went across the lake. That's what they did. Okay, so Max is going to keep going now that he got that part right. Okay, so Max says that they got in their boat. He's got that part right. They got on the water. Everything was fine. They were sailing. And then all of a sudden, a massive earthquake came and started shaking everything. Thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you think? Oh, okay. Let's say you're mixed up, Max. Ready?
You're mixed
up, Max. Okay, Jackson, you want to help us out? Was it an earthquake?
No.
What was it?
It was a storm.
It was a storm. Thank you so much, Jackson. All right, Max, it was a storm. It was not an earthquake. Okay, he says, okay, he's got it now. All right, so he's going to keep telling me more. Okay, so this is what happened after the storm came and the lightning was crashing and the waves were huge and this big old storm. The disciples went and woke up Jesus because he was asleep. The disciples were afraid, but Jesus was not afraid. So Jesus got up and he said, go home, you silly storm. Is that right or not right? What do you think? Okay, y'all give me a thumbs down. Let's say you're mixed up, Max. You're mixed up, Max. Y'all remember what Jesus said to the storm? What did he say, Lila?
He said, be calm. Be calm.
He said, quiet, be still. All right, so Max, they said quiet, be still. He says, okay. All right, last part. Okay, Max says that as soon as Jesus said that, the waves started getting bigger and bigger, and then the boat sank into the water. Thumbs up or thumbs down? What do y'all think? Oh, I'm getting a lot of thumbs down. Okay, let's tell them. All say it together. Ready? You're mixed stuff, Matt. Okay, who can help us out who hasn't shared yet? What did happen? The boat did not sink into the water. Who hasn't shared yet? Let's see. What do you think? What happened?
The way he said, calm down, Ray.
Yeah, and did they listen? Did the waves listen? They did. So the wind and the waves stopped. They knew his voice, and they got still. And remember, the disciples were amazed. And they said, whoa, who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him. Great job. Everybody give yourself a pat on the back. Y'all did awesome helping retell the story. So now Max knows what's going on. Way to go, Max. All right. So that was our story. Now I want all of y'all to think about, and everybody at home, I want you to think about if you've ever been scared before. Okay, so I want you to think in your brain about a time when you felt really scared. Okay, keep it in your brain for a minute because you're going to tell the person at your table. And everybody at home, maybe you can find somebody at home who you can tell about a time you were really feeling scared. So think for a few more seconds. When you've got your idea, give me a thumb so I know you're ready to share. All right? When you've got your idea, thinking about a time you were really scared. What did Topher do that he always does? What does he always do during this? He's always falling asleep. He is the sleepiest gopher I've ever met. So first we've got to wake him up. So in the count of 3, I need you to be really loud and say, wake up, Topher. Can we do that together?
Wake up.
Right, at the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Wake up.
Whoa, everybody. It's so good to see you today. Have you been learning about your Bible story? Yeah, well, what's the big idea? Okay, we got to tell them the big idea. Remember, our big idea is I can ask Jesus for help. Can we tell them together really loud? At the count of 3, ready? 1, 2, 3. I can ask Jesus for help. Oh, thank you for sharing that with me. That's a wonderful thing to remember when I'm feeling afraid. Back to sleep I go. Okay, he went back to sleep. Okay, thank you so much for listening to our Bible story. Let's pray and talk to God to close out our time, all right? Let's bow our heads and close our eyes, and y'all can repeat after me. Ready? Dear Jesus, I believe that you are more powerful than all of the things that scare me. Please help me to be brave when something scary happens. Amen. Awesome job.